Hello and welcome to your extended reading for the new beginnings. This is a new beginning for me and it's also going to be a new beginning for you. So I'll go ahead and get started. If you're finding this because you've watched the overall video, then some of the graphics here will be familiar to you. And let me fix this here. And behind me, I have a couple paintings that I did a long time ago, symbolizing left brain, right brain. And you know, this kind of like flip that happens in the body, how the right brain controls the left side and the right side and the left brain are connected, you know. So we have these interesting polarities that are a theme in my work and then a theme in my readings. So if this is resonating with you, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper with those in particular. Okay. So yeah, this is not scripted. I'm just going to go through and read the cards. But before we get too far into it, I do spend time at the beginning pulling cards for each sign, and I've kind of like printed them out here. And there's a map, which I'll put up here next to it. So I wanted to say that overall, because we all have every sign, these themes are important for the new beginning. So we have the Lover's card times 3 for the major arcana. And it was the only card that repeated 3 times, and it happens to be the major arcana. Sometimes the Lovers is considered choice, and because this reading is about choosing, you know, how you want to look at things and how our words and our thoughts matter, I think especially in this case for you as you are contemplating a new beginning, just think about how much that is emphasized for everyone throughout this reading as an influence in making new beginnings. We're choosing to make a new beginning. It happens not because we're expecting it to, because we take action in order for that to happen. We also have the Queen of Swords repeated twice, which is the element of air, and the Four of Wands repeated twice, the element of fire. And air and earth are heavily dominant. So this is just a little bit of overall energy before we get into your specific reading to orient us on the map. So there's a north, south, east, and west, and then also the elements, and then the 12 different zodiac signs, and your reading is going to be focusing on your particular zodiac sign. So let's get to it, okay? Hello Aries, and welcome to your extended reading. I'm going to be pulling cards from the Black Cat Tarot today. And so what's brought you here is the affirmations, I am responsible, or you are defensive. So yeah, that question, are you responsible or are you defensive? And we're making choices at this time of new beginnings. What can we do in that sense? The Six of Wands, which is part of the general reading for the fire energies, is victorious. So whether or not, wherever you're coming from, there's this overarching energy of victory. And the Five of Pentacles, which is letting go of sort of like poverty consciousness. So maybe you have felt kind of left on the outside, but no longer. There's that element of victory coming in. And then the Seven of Pentacles, which can also be a bit defensive about the new growth. You know, I think of like when you have seedlings or young children, you want to make sure that you protect them. So And that's great in terms of thinking about the nuances between the difference between the word responsibility and defensive. So like we might build walls as a defensive strategy because we think that we need to be responsible for protecting children. But perhaps there's another way to be responsible. So I don't know what it is in your life that you are questioning in terms of if you're taking responsibility or if you're being defensive. Why is being defensive considered the polarity of responsibility? Because if you are being defensive, it means that you're not taking responsibility for your actions. Like, I mean, it's all linguistics, basically. It's just the way you say it. But the idea with this one is, if I was to come and say, like, you know, so let's take something like super simple. Like, we live, you know, if you live with someone and they're like, oh, you know, you're leaving your wet towels on the floor in the bathroom. If you take responsibility for it, you would say, okay, I hear you, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I won't leave my wet towels on the floor in the bathroom if it bothers you, you know, I forgot, I'm sorry. But the whole, like, that part where you go, like, I forgot, it's not really that big of a deal, why do you always get so upset about it? That would be defensive. So taking responsibility would be kind of like owning up for what it was you did, acknowledging that that impacted the other person in some way, perhaps apologizing if it's appropriate, and then, yeah, versus saying, like, why do you always get so upset? It's not that big of a deal. That would be defensive. Because you feel attacked, you know? If you're a confident person, you don't really feel attacked. Okay, so as I'm shuffling, going through the cards that you already have, and then pulling some clarification. So where can you take more responsibility? What can help you understand where you're being unnecessarily defensive? The wild card and the bottom of the deck. The bottom of the deck is the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is, in this case, it's like two cats holding hands trying to cross over a river. But traditionally, the Two of Swords is kind of like this blindfolded character holding the swords. So it definitely means that in this situation, you're not seeing clearly. So whether or not this reading helps you to get a little bit of insight into the situation that your question is about, or you have to maybe do some journaling or some extra work. This card, the Two of Swords, would say, you may or may not even be able to see it even if you try. You might need to ask someone else to help you. There's a saying, like, you can't see your own backside. So the Two of Swords is a bit of like, you know that there's something you can't see, but you might not be able to see it yet anyway. So there's that. So if you feel frustrated because you're not getting it, then, you know, just give it some time. It might not be the moment yet for you to have a reveal. Okay, so question for helping you take more responsibility. We have the Knight of Swords. So we're seeing a theme of swords here. The question about your defensiveness, the Four of Pentacles, and the wild card is Temperance, balance. So and sometimes the cards are really simple, and in this case they do read fairly simply for me, which is with the Temperance in between, and you have like the air quality or the mental body action. This would be like taking action with your words and your thoughts. So kind of like using your words, your storytelling, and your thoughts and with intention. You know, like you say something in order for it to have a specific result. You know, you're saying something as a way of taking action, you know. Responsible, be responsible with your words, you know, be thoughtful with your words. Be thoughtful with how your words affect other people. Also, don't be afraid to use your words to impact other people. You're responsible for speaking your truth. Stuff like that, along those lines. And then you have the 4 of coins here. This is like holding on to your resources with a sense that you don't have enough. And because you got the 5 of Pentacles earlier in reverse, I think this energy is probably moving out, but maybe still something that's heavily influencing you, in which case you do feel defensive about what it is that you have. You're holding on to what it is that you have. And the overall card of Temperance is patience. So it kind of goes back to patience and finding balance, like a yin-yang and a balance. In this case, it's between what you know and then what you have. It's almost like a question of faith. I'm thinking of this as a question of faith. So you've seen some progress, you've had some taste of victory, you have more faith in the future that might be emerging for you, and you're being asked to be more patient. Even though you can't quite see everything yet, you do have enough evidence of it, hopefully, in your life in order to have a little bit more faith in the universe. And most of all, just patience and trust, so that you can take some risks without, you know, being totally closed in. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's pretty clear. I tried to explain it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I might be able to clarify something for you, or you might help someone else with similar questions if they have found this reading as well. So thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see you next time. If it didn't resonate, try going back and maybe a different reading will be more of your story. If you've been hearing my dog the whole time, he's been happily chewing on a new toy. So yay to new beginnings, huh? All right. Bye and Happy New Year.